the cloud. Yay.
Hey, good.
Hi, I missed
I know, it's been like a whole 10 seconds.
you. Oh, goodness. Okay. So we were talking about first the fact that it doesn't have to be a book and I'll just let you chatter and
Okay,
hopefully this will
here, I'll start over here just talking about, like my experiences coming from public relations, organizational communications background. And so we really used to think about how do we get our message out to a particular audience and what's the best medium to do that. And books was a part of our catalog of different kinds of media. We were not just about books, we were about everything.
all of it.
All of it, all of the above. And what I think translates really well into today's environment, from that experience is that actually today, every kind of media group, there's lots of specialist media groups. There are book publishers, obviously, that they're also broadcasters, but everybody's being pushed to be more multi-platform. You can't just do one platform
Yeah.
alone, even if a particular medium is your main kind of thing. If you're, book publishers use other forms of media to point people towards their books, and broadcasters use other forms of media to point people towards their broadcast channel and whatnot.
Right.
And so, with that kind of thing in mind, I think authors today, are encouraged to build a platform. But I think you can get caught up in this idea of how do I make myself famous and then I can write a book. And
Right.
and
Or,
I
oh my gosh, I have to promote myself. Ugh,
Exactly, exactly. And I think a much better way to think about that is what's the idea that God's planted in your heart, that grows out of your experience? And how do you build a platform for that
Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
than for yourself? You just happen to be the spokesperson for this issue,
Right.
instead of, if
Yeah.
you
So
don't,
building the platform around the idea instead of around the person, which makes so much more
yes.
sense.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, you'll still, I mean, if you gain traction and people are really interested in your idea, that builds some recognition of you as well. But that's less important than the elevation of your particular idea. And at the end of the day, like as Christians, following after Jesus, we want our ideas to transform society into the world that he intends us to be in.
Yeah.
And when we have that kind of kingdom mindset, then as we're working on our ideas, we want to set them free.
Yeah. Well, and not like, oh, like you were saying earlier, let's not like just keep this to ourselves because someone might steal the idea because we're always coming at it from a different perspective. Like 10 different people could write the same book and it's going to be different.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, we were talking about that. And I think of this idea of the parable of the talents and, the idea of investing what God's put in you instead of
Mm,
burying your talent in the sand and
right.
expecting something to happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, when you're a writer, you're really a steward of a particular idea,
Very
which
much.
you're putting out into the public, through your writing. And if you can build a platform through a variety of different media, that gives you a place to test your idea, to see what people are responding to or not, and to help the idea gain traction. And then hopefully that leads you towards a book,
Right.
where your most avid fans or the fans of your idea can go to get more, to
Yeah.
really dig deep into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I liked your idea of I just keep coming back to that like the platform is for the idea and like for the people who need your idea.
Yep.
It's not like, "Oh, hey, look at me." It's you have a need and I have something that you can access through my online whatever, my website or this thing that I'm offering and I don't know. I just keep coming back to the number of people who read a book versus the number of people who listen to a radio broadcast or read a magazine or an article.
True.
Your readership is so much larger if you're
Yep.
willing to write articles and um,
Yes.
just kind of expand the different ways you can
Yep.
bring that information. Yeah.
I was thinking too, we were talking earlier just about this idea of hoarding your idea and
Yeah.
keeping it safe,
Yeah.
keeping it protected.
Smog.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
my gold.
That's right, or my precious.
Yeah. My precious.
Exactly. And like this, yeah, you're really keeping potential people who could be transformed from this, from ever hearing this.
Yeah.
And I don't think our ideas are really as original as we might think that they are. It's
Right.
our own unique experience with that issue that makes it original. But when God is moving society in a particular direction, he usually doesn't speak just to one person.
Yeah, that's so
He,
true.
it's usually a group of people who get impacted and are moving and sharing the message through their experiences with the group of people that they're with. And there's this convergence, that takes place when there's a big societal change. And so, you know, that's just a bit of pride when we're thinking, my idea is so original, I can't tell
Right.
anyone about it, they'll steal it.
God's never told anyone this before.
Exactly. It doesn't mean you throw all discernment to the wind, but you can be much freer, I think, to share
Yeah.
your ideas with more people. And if you, I was just talking with I just did a couple of webinars, but one of them was for missions communicators, which is the world I came from. And I was talking to them about earned media opportunities, and that's like
Mm,
when you share your idea on a platform that's not yours.
that you don't
Um,
have to pay for.
exactly, that you don't have to pay for, that's not yours, exactly. And so somebody was like, "Well, how do we even begin?" I'm like, "Well, do you know someone who has a newsletter that's not your newsletter? Like, do that."
Yeah.
Write a little column. Do you know somebody who has a blog or a website, and they would invite a guest
Guest on a
writer?
podcast.
Yes, a guest on a podcast, exactly. So there's like smaller and bigger opportunities. It's just like which one is available to you right now?
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, I think it's easier than people realize because I have several friends who write for their local paper or, just one-offs, and some of them are like consistent. And if I had more time, like I think that would be really fun, but I don't have time to go. I used to, a long time ago, I used to go to events and then I'd write about it and then I'd pitch it to our newspaper and they're like, "Oh, sure." And it was really not that hard, especially if they had, slow, I don't know, I guess they have slow times or whatever. And
Yeah, yeah,
often
yeah.
I hit them at those times. But if you have something fun going on, you can write about that. But then as people start to recognize your name, they're more likely to want to look you up and find your information and, oh, we go to their website
Exactly.
and then you can
Yes.
talk about whatever you want to talk about there. So it doesn't have to be
Yep.
talking about your platform idea to the local paper, for instance, but
Yes, yes,
it'll
yes,
draw
yes.
people in.
Right. Yep. Some of that is just space for you to get practice, yeah, to share your writing in general, yeah, to help people get to know who you are. Yep. Those are fantastic opportunities. And also like even the what appears to be the humblest opportunity is actually amazing. There are people reading that
Right?
content,
Yeah,
right?
I
They're
know.
reading something that you've written, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
Even if it's, whatever group you think, oh, that doesn't really matter. Those are still people made in the image of God who have spheres of influence, who care about what it is that you're sharing.
And
So
you never
celebrate that.
know who they're gonna know because,
That's
like,
right.
with things that I do, like people, and I'm sure you find this too, people who have no interest in what I'm doing, but we're friends, they'll be like, "Oh, I know this person who would love to join your writer group," or this
Yeah.
person would be really interested in this mission opportunity and, things like that. I'm sure that's, you guys have that kind of stuff too. So you just
Yep.
never know where those connections are going to happen. And
There was this is totally random. But there was this study of like how does information like pass? And they found that in every community that there's usually a few people that are super connectors and like
Mm.
almost everything passes through them. I forget what the study was, but there was some very simple piece of information. It was like sort of like a huge regional telephone game.
Yeah. That's funny.
And
I was about to
so,
like
yes, it's
your
just like
telephone.
this. And they wanted to see like how far this little piece of information would go. And what
Oh,
they
funny.
found was like, I forget that was there in one instance, it was like somebody who was like a shoe repair person or something like that
Right.
was like the purveyor of news and connections. There's like all these like they found there's like three people spread
That lady who
information to
cuts
like
everybody's
50,000.
hair.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yes. Yeah. So
That's funny.
sometimes, yeah, super connectors aren't in a particular job. It's just the way somebody's personality is. So you never know what group might have that special super connector.
Yeah. And if you get in touch with them, then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, there's all these
Yeah.
people that, yeah.
Yes.
There's actually a guy that's in 540 and like constantly people will email me and be like, oh, so and so said to reach out to you. And I'm like, this guy, like, you would not, if you met him, you'd be like, oh, this is just a normal dude. It's not I don't know, maybe I'm making a stereotype, but like I usually think of like, oh, there's gonna be a female who's gonna like draw everyone in.
Ah, yeah,
But
yeah.
because he's pretty quiet generally too, but
Yep.
he has brought so many people into our group because he's like, oh, you should join. And like they're like, yeah, I've been talking to Jay and he said like I should check with you. It's just fun to watch people do their thing, but it's always the ones you don't expect, I feel like. But
He's your super connector.
yeah, he really is.
I was
So
just thinking too, just thinking about authors on this as well, or writers, people with an idea they want to share. It's the same, you take advantage of these opportunities to share your idea, share your writing in different spaces, and you'd end up with a surprising person like this that just keeps sending people your way who becomes like your evangelist.
yeah. Yeah. Well, and what you said earlier about like building that platform for the idea and
Yep.
something that someone told me years ago has always stuck. Said the average church in America and might be, I don't know what it is worldwide, but the average church size in America is about 70 people. So if you have more than 70 people in any of your spheres of influence, you have more impact or you have the ability to have more impact than a pastor in an average church in America. And like, what
Wow.
are we doing with that impact? And then
Wow.
the other thing was somebody was complaining that they only had, I want to say it was maybe 300 people or something on their social media versus, these people who have 500,000.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yep.
does feel like less, but in the course of the conversation, somebody else asked that person, well, what if you had them all over to your house? Like, would that seem like a small number? And suddenly it was like, oh no, that's a lot. So I think sometimes we get, I don't know, swayed by the idea of like, oh, we don't have enough when maybe that's who God wants us to reach. And we need to focus on like, hey, I have a group of people to serve and to bring this idea and give it to them.
I really like that. Yeah. And I think that also just ties us back into the fact that we are a part of God's epic. This is his story.
Yeah,
We have a small part to play, and we don't know how all the pieces fit together. And
right.
sometimes, yeah, seemingly just connecting with a small group seems just very insignificant. But in his larger plan, every little piece has significance, even though
Yeah,
we can't see how it all fits together.
that's cool. Yeah, because I mean, everybody's heard the tapestry analogy, like, oh, we're seeing it from the underside and only he can see the top. But
Yeah, yeah,
as
yeah,
you were
sure.
talking about the connection thing, I was thinking about on Mother's Day with my mom and my aunt, we were doing a puzzle and we were each doing different parts of it. So like my mom was doing the edges and I was doing the words and my aunt was working it. It was cheeses. It was a lot of fun actually. Um, And so she was working on the cheese, but like if the puzzle pieces were sentient, they probably would think, oh, I've got this little place over here. Because, my words were like this many puzzle pieces, and then my aunt's cheese was like this big, and then my mom had the edge,
Yes.
and those puzzle pieces would be like, well, I'm only connected to the guy next to me if it's an
Yes.
edge person, or
Yes,
edge
yes,
piece.
yes, yes. Yep.
And the words like, oh, well, I'm only in a group of 20, and the cheese is like, I'm just a group of 50, but and then you start getting plugged in, and that
Yeah,
one
yeah.
piece
Yep.
connects all these other pieces together. And I don't know.
Yep.
Sorry. Writer
I
brain.
really like it. I like it. You are a puzzle piece.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll get us out even deeper in this riff.
Okay, that sounds good.
There's um my husband and I spent some time at L'Abri in England, and one of the staff there was just talking about seeing yourself in light of the dimensions. And actually it tied for me when I was hearing him talk about this, it tied together a 10th grade geometry lesson with a biblical truth. And so in my geometry lesson, my geometry teacher, who was a lot of fun, was talking to us about, the first dimension, second dimension, third dimension. And so he drew a line on the blackboard and he's like, in the first dimension, you only can see what's, behind you and on the other side, on your right and left. That's it. You live your
Right.
life as a line. And so then he draws a square next to the line. And he's like, the line only sees the square like it's a line. And then it'll disappear when it's
Right.
above him because he doesn't have access to that. And
Yeah.
he's like, the square says to the line, "Hey, stupid, I'm still here." And he's like, to the line, it was like a voice from heaven because he could not see
You
where
can't
it
see that
pointed.
dimension.
Yeah, exactly. So then he's like, and then you come along and we're 3D. And he's like, I look at that square and I'm like, hey, stupid. And the square is like, wait, where is this voice from? And then he puts his head right up against the blackboard and he's like, oh, I can see you now. And so along these lines, back to our Labrie lecture, which is talking about the idea of the heavenly world being another dimension, and
Hmm.
that we can see that as we look at different dimensions and how certain things are not accessible to different dimensions. If we think about the heavenly world as another dimension. So this
Yeah.
makes your puzzle even
Dimension
more.
4.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The fourth dimension. Just that idea, even Paul talks about how he just can't see things clearly in this
Marvel
world.
thinks they've got the multiverse. No.
Exactly. We already have it. It's in the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when we can have that humility to recognize, yeah, there's things that are beyond our dimension or beyond our
Right.
puzzle pieces.
Yeah. And that we can't even like access. That's very
Yeah,
true.
and
Yeah.
that's like the part of where our relationship with God is a relationship of trust. He can see things beyond our
He
capacity.
could see all the puzzle
He
pieces,
can. He
and
can
he could,
see the fourth
yeah.
dimension.
It's like when we're doing the puzzle pieces, if they were sentient, would not be able to like probably, I guess, really see us, but we can see
Yeah, that's
all
right.
of
They
them. We
might
can
see
see,
like the side of our hand, right? Like,
yeah.
oh, what's going on here?
What is that?
Exactly.
And
Yep.
like we move them into place just like God moves things into place and connects people. And this
Yeah.
could go.
I know we
We can
could
go
keep
really
going.
deep,
We
really.
could. We
We can get ourselves in a
could.
mess with this one.
Oh,
That's funny. Huh.
yeah.
That I like that analogy a lot. Now that I'm My
Yeah.
husband's gonna be like, "What's going on?" I get these stories in my head, and then like I start getting, I don't know if you've ever felt this, but it's like I feel like I'm like deep inside my brain thinking about the thing, and like the world is not even really like part of what I'm
So
like not
funny.
even seeing what's in front of me. And Patrick's
Yeah,
like, "You okay?" Like,
yeah.
yeah, I was just really, this is so cool.
I'm just imagining things.
I know. It's like if I could only articulate to you what I'm experiencing in my brain.
That's really funny. Yeah, I can relate to that.
That's funny.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's good.
The other thing that I think is a really good point that you were talking about earlier was just our ideas are not the holy grail. Like it's not just for us and it's not a talent to marry, and it's important to do the thing we're called to do and not just be like, oh, I gotta wait until it's perfect. Like it's never gonna get perfect if you
That's
don't
right.
do the thing.
Yeah,
So,
this is why thinking of your strategy towards a book as being a multimedia strategy really helps this because, if you write an article with something related to your idea where you kind of put it in a bite-sized piece or you capture a part of it, um, that, for one, it gives you great practice uh, and it helps you to really think about, will people understand this? What reader is the right reader for this? Because you're
yeah.
already going through all that process when you're writing something for publication.
Right.
Uh,
For
and
the book proposal. Yay.
yeah, exactly. Like you will, if you start doing that kind of thing, if you write several articles or, even some blog posts or social media posts where you're getting some writing out there, you're already building the pieces of content that would go into your book
Right.
proposal or in your future book, right? And
Yeah.
you're also showing like proof of concept
Yeah.
to a potential publisher where you're showing like this idea actually has traction. People did read this, or this, I published this in this place. This is how much engagement there was on it.
Yeah. Or
Um,
I published this because I thought it was gonna be awesome and I got crickets. So,
yeah,
you
exactly.
know,
I thought this was really interesting, but it connected with no one.
yeah.
Right? So that
That
actually,
happens. Yeah.
that, well, and you can think of that as like saving you from
Right.
investing 10 or 20 years in writing a manuscript that no one will read as well.
Yes. For sure.
Um, and 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 if you also look at it this way too, you may have something that at first only gets crickets, but if you're putting it out in places that don't require as much effort and don't, consequences aren't severe if it's not engaged with, it gives you time to point people to your content, to
Yeah.
develop an audience, to get a group of people who will eventually start, expressing interest in what that idea is. And then by the time the book comes out, you have a group, a community of readers, and you can show a publisher, like, I know I've got this many people who really, yeah, are
Yeah.
gonna read it. Because no one also, even if you were to get a manuscript you worked on forever, picked up by a publisher who wants to take a risk, um, and you haven't developed an audience, no one wants to put all that work in and just get it on Amazon and not see anyone buy it.
Right. Like we
Yeah.
would like to sell the book also.
Exactly, exactly. You'll end up with your basement full of like extra copies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's always heartbreaking. Like, oh yeah, you know, I mean, I think paying to have your book produced is also a viable option as long as you do it with somebody reputable.
Yep.
And I was talking to somebody recently and they're like, yeah, I have this box of 3,000 books like still sitting in my garage. And I was like, oh, that's not good. Um,
Yeah.
it's like if you're not willing to do the marketing or not able to do the marketing because you don't know what you're doing, I mean,
Yep.
it's important to learn those things and it's easier to learn it when you have a smaller audience and
Yes.
figure out what works and what doesn't and all of that.
Yep. And a product that doesn't take as much to produce.
Yeah.
So, a paragraph on Facebook or a picture with a great or a video on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. Like these things take time, but they don't
Yeah.
take like a couple of years
Right.
or multiple years to
Yeah. It
produce.
will not take you a decade.
Yes,
Or if it
exactly.
does, there's something wrong.
I know exactly, right? By the time you get your TikTok video out, you've already need a new platform.
Right.
Um,
I'm too
yeah,
old for
so
TikTok. By the time I got it out, I was too old for
exactly.
TikTok.
I know exactly, exactly. But it's like making this is like making a practical investment. You're getting you're getting experience. Your audience is getting experience with your idea and building their interest. And uh yeah, and you're showing that this is viable. This is quite interesting. And by the time you're around, you've tested things, you've developed an audience, you've done a lot of the marketing before the book ever comes out.
Yeah. And that like I don't really love the word organic, but that's the best word that's coming to mind.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the organic creation of your platform, it feels better too. It doesn't feel like you're selling all the time. It's just like, oh, these are the people that have come
Yeah.
alongside as I've done the thing that I've been called to do. And
Yep. In that sense, like marketing doesn't need to be a dirty word.
right.
You could call it exposure or interest in your
There's your
idea,
book title. Marketing's not a
engagement.
four-letter word.
Yeah, yes.
And then you'll have somebody going, yeah, it's not.
Uh,
We
yeah.
should
Hey,
brainstorm together more often.
I know. I was just thinking maybe we could just do a workshop with the two of us talking. It could be like a panel, an informal like interview panel where we're
Gonna
just
hang
like
out.
having anyone want to come and listen to our conversation?
Right? Just come hang out. Let me
Well, if you
excuse me,
get your
sorry.
podcast off the ground, it would be fun.
I
I'd
know
love to
people are
participate.
I keep getting well, and I'm at this point I'm not trying to like create a podcast, but people keep asking. They're like, "When's the podcast?" I'm like,
That's so funny.
I don't know, it might be never, but this feels doable. Like I could just record
Yes.
conversations with friends and just
Yes.
put it on the YouTube channel, and if people don't like it, that's fine. And if they
Right,
like
right,
it,
right.
then great.
That's like
So,
so many podcasts are like this. They're just that conversation format. I think it's good.
yeah,
Yeah,
just hang out.
that's
So.
right. Come hang out with Becky Blue.
It's my promo. I'm gonna take that chunk out and be like, this is my advertisement right here.
Perfect.
Like, hey, writer friends. Um, that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited you're gonna be a right to publish. It's gonna be good. And and I was thinking, like, are there things that people could know ahead of time? Because a lot of people come to the conference, and I'm getting questions anyway, like, what do I need to know? But even for the people in the expo, I think it might be really helpful to be able to say, hey, here are some people in the expo, and like here's some things you could know ahead of time so you'll know you want to go talk
Yeah.
to them. Like
Yeah.
what might that I know it's on putting you on the spot, but like,
Um, I have been actually thinking about this.
oh good.
So I think what we have to offer your community is just challenging them like how many of you love writing and you love missions?
Yeah.
Did you know that you can participate in a writing mission? And what you're experiencing at Write to Publish or other writers' conferences is something that a lot of Christians around the world don't have those opportunities, but MAI provides
Yeah.
those opportunities for people to get this kind of training, or whatever is appropriate for their context, so that they can also participate in creating great literature that puts forward the life transforming ideas that their society needs.
That's
So
really cool. And I like the idea that you all work in the country, and if it's not English, then it's in their language and all of that. That's really
yeah, and
helpful.
we're using local trainers as much as possible. Sometimes we have outsiders come, but usually it's people from the context at least, whether from the country or from the surrounding continent, or but then there's also a lot in common across the majority world.
Mm.
A lot of our writers and publishers are they're working in places where there may be no Christian books that were originally written in for their context.
Yeah.
Um, and if there are Christian books, they might all be translations of things often from the US. And they have ideas they want to share too. They have ideas
Yeah.
that can impact their society and us. And so, yeah, MAI provides a way for people to get the training and connections that they need to be able to flourish as writers and publishers abroad.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I love that. It's
yep,
super cool. That's very near and dear to my heart. Like I went to school with internationals. And so like there was a guy that came from Nigeria and he left his entire family because he felt called to pastor. And so he came to seminary and his wife was in full support, but he couldn't afford to bring her. And I think they had a 3 or 4 year old daughter, if I remember correctly. And so he would go home for the summer, but he was away for months at a time
yep,
to be trained. And he said, it would be so great if we had more in country that was actually good training. And I know that what
yeah,
you're doing isn't seminary per se, but I mean,
right, right. Yep,
much of what he needed was like, how do I study? How do I learn? How do
yes,
I write? All of
yep,
that. It
yep,
wasn't, you know, you can get the Bible training, and especially now, people can find it probably online with
yep.
in a lot of countries, they can access a lot more than 20 years ago or 25 years ago, 30 30
I
years
know,
ago.
right? Yes.
Like suddenly realizing it's been a
How old am
longer,
I?
I
Oh
know,
man,
right?
I know. I was just realizing that earlier today. I was like 1995. Oh yeah, that's when I graduated from high school. That's a long time ago.
I was 94. That's funny. Yeah, I'll be 50 next year and I'm so excited. I keep telling people, I'm like, I'll finally be an adult.
That's
And
so
my
funny.
aunt was like, honestly, I don't know that that's gonna happen. Just, to be
Yeah.
warned. I was like,
I
oh, when did you feel like a grown up? And she's like, not yet.
There's no hope for us. I know I turned 50 next year as well. I'm like,
Oh,
wow.
awesome. When's your
I
birthday?
in April.
Okay.
April
What day?
21st. Yeah.
Okay. Well, and I'm June 17th, so you'll beat me, but only
Okay.
by a little. So,
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I know.
well,
It's a
so
big
that'll be
year.
great because next year, so one of the things that we're doing at Right to Publish, and this sort of grew out of a couple of things. So, um, I've always wanted to have a big birthday party. And like all of my friends live in other places. And also, I'm keeping an eye on the time. Do you have another thing at two?
I'm okay. I can go a little over.
Okay. Um, so I've always wanted to have like a big birthday party. And all of my friends live all over the world. And so there's no way I'm ever going to have everybody in one room. And last year, because Right to Publish is pretty close to my birthday, I was
Yep.
like, I finally got what I wanted. I've got like 225 people in one room and they're all my friends and I love it. So I was like, so I said something to somebody. We were already having cake
Yep.
because were you there when I did the closeout last year? I don't
I got
remember.
some cake, but I don't
Okay.
remember being there
I didn't
for
know
the.
if no, it's fine. I just didn't know if you had I didn't want to like tell you a story if you're like, yes, I've heard
Yeah,
this.
yeah. No, I don't think I
But
was there. I think actually maybe Dan brought the cake, what was
okay,
left over, or something to our board meeting. Yeah.
that's funny. Okay. So the reason there was cake was because I was explaining to people, I feel like all my life I have followed a carrot. Whenever God wants me to do something, he dangles the carrot, I follow it, and I'm like, I know what you want, finally. And then I get to the place where I think I'm gonna get the carrot, and he's like, nope. I'm like, and so for the first decade of my adult life, I would get really, I mean, truly annoyed at him sometimes because I'm like, I did all this stuff to get to this place that I was sure you wanted me to be, and now I don't like see the point. And then like he'd hand me chocolate. I'm like, oh, okay, this is completely different from what I thought, but it's better. Um,
Yep.
And so I was telling Steve when we were talking about having me take over Right to Publish and CWI, was like, I don't know because I really want to do this, but I don't know if this is the carrot and it's just God getting me into place for something else, or if this is the
Yep.
chocolate. And Steve was like, well, either way, carrot or chocolate, it's cake, right? And I was like, yes, it is.
That's really good. I like that.
So that's why we had carrot cake and we had cake with chocolate icing. So,
That's great.
um, but so what we're going to do this year, though, so it's the 55th anniversary of the beginning of Rights Publish this year.
Okay. Yep.
And then I was thinking about the fact that a lot of our writers um, may not live near their families or, kind of the same situation. Like maybe they don't get to have people with them. So we're going to celebrate the 55th anniversary and everyone's birthday on
Ha, that's great.
Friday. And like that's going to be the Right to Publish thing is we celebrate
That's
everybody's
great.
birthday
I like
together.
it.
Um, so so next year we can celebrate our 50s
I like it.
together. Like it'll be awesome. But cool. Well, I
All
probably
right.
should go. We have a call at 3. Dan's actually going to talk about the history of Right to Publish, and he
Oh,
does a fantastic job doing it. And it
good.
was funny because he made a comment last night. He's like, "Well, Lynn Johnson did a lot of this, and she would be a good person to have tell the story." I'm like, "No, she wouldn't, because she wouldn't say all the things she did. She'd just be like, I showed up and God used me," and she would probably leave it at that. like, like, so he was like, "She is almost annoyingly humble." I'm like, right?
It's
So
funny.
So we're very thankful for Lynn, but Lynn's not telling the story because she won't. She'll just be like, everyone else did this, or God
Got
did
it.
this, which he did.
Yeah.
But
Yes,
um,
yes, yes, yes.
so
Yep.
I'm gonna go get ready for that. But this has been fun, and
Yeah, this has been
definitely do it
fun. All
again.
right.
And
Yes.
actually, I was thinking, unless so, if you're like, no, I'd rather not, it's also fine. But if you're like, yeah, we can just use this, I could just put this on there.
I'm fine.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead. Yep,
Okay.
that would be
So
totally fine. That would be kind of
okay.
fun. It's
Okay.
totally
I was
spontaneous.
like, this is just our conversation. If you guys want to hang out with us, come hang out.
Yes.
And we pause a little too much. We might laugh a little too much, but
Right, right, right.
this is what
Good.
happens when you're not around. Cool, cool. Well, Heather, thank you for being with us for this inaugural like YouTube conversation.
I
Writer
love it.
friends and
Yes, that's right. Just dropping by.
yeah, just hanging out. It's like on Mr. Rogers when people would stop by and hang out and he'd have a chat.
I like it.
And
Yep.
he did a
I
good
I
job
am
of that.
wearing a
Like,
cardigan today, but I
oh,
did not change my shoes before I
yeah,
started our conversation.
that's fine. That's awesome. And it's funny because I almost always wear a cardigan. And today I've just been really warm. And like, I think this is the first time in a year that I have not had a sweater on. It's like,
Huh.
what's happening? So, getting closer to 50. Here we go.
I know. I know.
So, anyway, all right. Well, you have a lovely, lovely day. And we've been with Heather Pubols. Did I say that right?
Heather
So I've been
Pubols.
saying,
Yep, you got
okay,
it.
good. All of a sudden I was like, watch me mispronounce with MAI. And this is Writer Friends. Drop in anytime. Okay. All right.
Fantastic.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, see ya.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.